watching the News Hour at 9.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to open the second debate with these images. These pictures from Pakistan is enough to demolish a farcical tribute paid by Netas in Kashmir Valley to the #1 Pak Dalal, who breathed his last on Wednesday night. After 7 decades of servitude to his Islamabad bosses, Hurriyat hawk Sayed Ali Shah Geelani died. He died as a Pak Dalal and died as a separatist patriarch who spewed anti-India venom all his life. Tonight, instead of condemning his treacherous legacy, Valley politicians pandered to the sentiment of separatism and appeasement to Pakistan establishment. Tonight, when a terrorist openly pays tribute to Geelani across the border, and yes, those visuals are of Sayyid Salahuddin, the well-known terrorist that India has wanted for so many decades, it's time to call out the closet separatists who find themselves fiddling with all sides and playing with the aspirations of modern Kashmiris who seek nothing but peace, prosperity and progress with India. A man who proudly proclaimed himself as a Pakistani constantly is now being eulogized on his demise. A man who celebrated Burhan Wani, who killed innocents, is being lauded. For Geelani, who held an Indian passport for the longest time, always wanted Pakistan flag to fly high in Kashmir. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, he's being celebrated. And before I begin the debate, listen in to the vicious anti-India propaganda that was today. In fact, I don't even want to play that because there's no place for this in Naya Kashmir. And that really brings me to the legitimate question on the news hour tonight. Why celebrate a symbol of treachery? That's the question that we want to ask the Geelani supporters on the news hour tonight. Pak ka Geelani dead. That's the hashtag and the debate on the other side.
You're watching the News Hour at 9. Debate number 2 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
And joining the debate with Majid Haidri, Amit Malviya is Sushil Pandit, Kashmiri activist, and Suneet Chopra. And Majid Haidri, those visuals, any doubts now who Salahuddin is here for and who is the direct relationship that Mr. Syed Ali Shah Geelani had with? All this while you contested these facts. A terrorist and the Pakistan government reading the Fatiha for Geelani, does that give any solace to Kashmiris tonight? I want to ask you.
Navika Sahiba, the only thing undoubted about Geelani Sahib has been the popular slogan in Kashmir that Kaun Karega Tarjumani Sayed Ali Geelani. He enjoyed this incorruptible status because people believed that if he wanted to strike a deal with New Delhi, he could even have been offered the prime ministership of this country. But Geelani Sahab never did so in the last 30 years. He could have got power, he could have got money.
Can you imagine what that India would be? Can you even imagine, people of India, what that India would be if Sayed Ali Shah Geelani, jinki, look at this picture. India go back को वो सर झुकाकर गिलानी साहब वहाँ सर झुकाकर सजदा कर रहे हैं. इस आदमी को आप कह रहे हैं कि ये इंडिया का प्रधानमंत्री हो सकता था, और आज इनकी मौत पर सजदा कौन कर रहा है? सईद अली शाह गिलानी की मौत पर सलाहुद्दीन. सुशील पंडित, ये इनके हिसाब से होने चाहिए थे वजीर आजम हिंदुस्तान के.
नमस्कार, आपके दर्शकों को भी नमस्ते. I am very sad today. And my reason for sadness is that this dawn of the jihadi enterprise in Kashmir got away scot-free. Indian state did not press charges against him, did not prosecute him, did not punish him for a massacre, a genocide of Hindus in Kashmir. That is the sadness. That for his entire life, he unabashedly championed the cause of Pakistan. He hounded out the minorities from Kashmir. He owned up the terrorists, the jihadis, the gun-wielding marauders as his boys. In his words, he said, Hizbul Mujahideen hamara askari bazu hai. There was no ambiguity about where he stood, vis-a-vis Pakistan, vis-a-vis separatism, vis-a-vis violence, vis-a-vis genocide. I was one of the complainants, and my FIR was not accepted by the police. I had to drag the courts in, and through the directions of the court, there was an FIR launched against him, but there was no prosecution, there was no investigation. They moved the FIR from police to crime branch. Government changed, Prime Minister changed, but there was no case put against him. He got away scot-free in 91 years of his life. He did not face the consequences of his actions, and that is my regret today as an Indian.
Well, I want to show you, dear viewers, another picture. And this picture should really make us think again about what our politicians are doing. And Mr. Sunit Chopra, I want to show you this picture where Mr. Sitaram Yechury is sitting next to Sayed Ali Shah Geelani, listening to him, rapt attention. The same Geelani. There is Asaduddin Owaisi also in these pictures. T.R. Balu of the DMK and Shiromani Akali Dal, I think. No, and there are, sorry, not Shiromani Akali Dal, but there are many political parties there. And I want to ask you, Sunit Chopra, Mr. Yechury has never paid so much attention to what the Prime Minister of this country has said, but he has time and years for Sayed Ali Shah Geelani.
Because the Prime Minister lies.
The man who says, go back India. Do you stand with these India breakers and India baiters?
The Prime Minister lies.
And Sayed Ali Shah Geelani says the truth? Does he say the truth? Salahuddin is there at his prayer ceremony. The Pakistan government has read the Fatiha for him. He's India's friend or Pakistan's friend?
Please don't get hysterical. Please don't get hysterical.
I would be. Every Indian who loves his country, his motherland, would be hysterical tonight. Don't be hysterical.
There is an ancient Roman saying, nil de mortui nisi bonum. It means don't speak anything of the dead but good. And I thought for many years why. I know the answer. The answer is very clear. When a person is dead, he can't do anything to you.
Mr. Sunit Chopra, when I was showing visuals, of Mr. Sitaram Yechury with Sayed Ali Shah Geelani, Sayed Ali Shah Geelani was not dead, okay? I'm questioning you on those pictures, and I'm questioning you on
you are doing
Yechury, friend of Geelani. Geelani says, India go back. Geelani's death has become a moment of prayer for Pakistan and terrorists in Pakistan. Amit Malviya.
Listen,
what does this show you? What does this show you?
Navika, first of all, I want to make it very clear, had this administration been in power longer than what it has, Shah Geelani would have been in the jail like Yasin Malik today is, and the state is progressing and trying him for his sins and his crimes. Even Geelani has died a lonely man. He was buried in the wee hours of the morning. He was denied the janaza that he and his supporters would have expected. But having said that, we have to admit that people like Geelani were cancerous to the people and the peace of Kashmir Valley. He was a man who let his children and his family out. They prospered, but he made several 100,000 Kashmiri boys and girls cannon fodder in his agenda for the jihad that he unleashed on the people of Kashmir. That is the truth. And people who support the likes of Geelani, the likes of the left, the communists, the Congress party also for that matter, have to be reminded that this man thrived and prospered while they were in office. It's end of an ugly era in this country. We are glad that he's no more alive, and there will not be another Geelani as long as this administration is around.
Absolutely, and commendable that at least today there has been peace. Internet was suspended for a while, but now it's back. And Majid Haidari has joined us on Skype connection from Kashmir. So anybody who says that this is a Kashmir where freedom of speech is not allowed, well, Majid Haidari through internet on this show. But tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to ask one question. This is the same man, Sayed Ali Shah Geelani, who said, Pakistan is we are Pakistanis and Pakistan is ours. We are Pakistanis and Pakistan is ours. This is the man today who died a lonely death. But look at the tears that have come from Mehbooba Mufti and from other very, very noticeable leaders of the Kashmir Valley. If somebody is a Pakistani and stayed in India, used India's passport and a lot of government support and taxpayer money and security, look at where his loyalties lay and look at those who today are crying for this departed soul. Please, it's time for India to wake up and recognize and differentiate between their friends and their foes. That's all on the Newshour tonight. Good night. I'll see you tomorrow.